Welcome to the another video of Charismatic Planet. Belyana, Russia's giant wooden boats. The Belyana were some of the largest wooden ships ever built, yet they were only meant for a single journey. They were built to transport huge quantity of timber along the Volga and Kama. Instead of just floating the logs down the rivers, they were fashioned into enormous ships, and these large vessels were rowed or floating downriver. At their destination, the vessel was disassembled and the wood sold. Between the 16th and the 19th centuries, hundreds of belyanas were built every year and floated down the river. With more than a fifth of the world's forest timber production in one of the country's oldest economy, wood was logged in winter. Loggers would spend the entire winter in the forest, cutting down trees and preparing them for the transportation. After the spring flood, when rivers returned to normal flow, constructions of Belyana started. They took the entire summer, finishing in autumn. First, the hull was built using spruce beams and pine board. The flat bottom was made of spruce and the walls were made of pine. About 240 pine and 200 spruce logs were needed to build a medium-sized Belyana. The vessels were originally built without a single nail, and only later in the 19th century did iron nails being to be used. No tearing was performed and the logs were simply tied tightly together. The lack of the tar gave the Belyana a whitish appearance, from which comes its name. Belyana means faded or white. The load of logs, beams and planks were distributed in even rows with wide opening between them, so as to provide quick access to its bottom in the event of a breach or other accident. In addition, properly laid logs dry faster, which protects from rot. Like the hull and the superstructure, the deck too was made of a load, usually of cut boards. Two cabins were installed near the stern and served as a balance and as quarter for the crew. A high transfer bridge was built between the roofs, with the cabin cut in the middle, where the pilot was located. Belyanas were richly decorated with flags of the state, as well as that of a particular merchant, which most often depicted the blessing of saints or some symbol appropriate to the occasions. Small Belyana had a draught of 2.5 to 2.8 meters and could carry up to 1600 tons. Medium Belyanas had a draught of approximately 3.5 meter and could carry 3200 tons. The large ones measured up to 120 meters long and 25 meters wide and had a draught of 5 meters. They could carry 12,800 tons of wood, comparable to a medium container ship. Each Belyana was crewed by 15 to 35 sailors, while large ones had up to 100. Most of them worked on the pumps that pump water from the hull, which tended to flood during the journey. The Belyanas had no propels and moved up by the action of the river. A huge rudder placed in the stern of the vessel allowed the pilot to navigate the Belyana. After a 2,000 to 3,000 kilometer journey along the Volga, the Belyana would reach at its destination, where the timber and hull were dismantled for firewood or went to sawmills for final processing. The boats' cabins were sold as ready-made houses. Belyana flourished in the middle of the 19th century when steamboats ran on wood, which had to be brought to the towns of the lower Volga. Up to 500 steamships on the Volga needed large quantities of firewood to propel them. After ships started to run soil, the demand for wood decreased. Besides, with the development of the railway system, the cost of transportation by rail became cheaper than by water, and Belyana became obsolete. If you like this video, please comment, share and subscribe. Thank you very much.